Hello, welcome back to the Villa View. It's time for a preview of Aston Villa at home to our second city rivals, Birmingham City.
Right then Dan, big derby game coming up on Sunday. How are you feeling about this one?
I don't know really. I don't feel like I'm as nervous as I normally am for some reason, which is absolutely bizarre because they're actually in decent form. But I think we're just in such good form that generally nothing really scares me with Villa at the moment, which is a really dangerous mindset to, one, be coming on a video on, and two, as a Villa fan, to be coming on, because that's when you get tripped up. But I don't want to say I'm really confident, but I am pretty confident in this team at the moment. If we play to the maximum of our ability, we'll have too much for them, but that's the issue. If we don't play to the maximum of our ability and it turns into a scrap, they're obviously going to be in with a shot.
Yeah, we've mentioned a few times, haven't we, that, well, I've said in particular that I'd back us to beat anyone at home, pretty much. Obviously a derby game is a little bit different. Going into it 6 wins on the bounce now, hoping to make it 7 if we can. But as I say, form goes out the window, doesn't it, for a derby a little bit? Which might be a good thing because Birmingham are on form as well.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about it a little bit on the podcast. I see that it can turn into a battle and a scrap, but I think form's relevant. Because if you look back to that time we beat them 5-1 in 2008, but we were on great form, really good form, and they were dreadful on a terrible run. And McLeish even said after the game we're on a different level to them. If you're coming into the game absolutely flying and your rivals aren't, then I think form it does play a part. But as you've said, they've picked up. I was hoping we'd go into this game with us on a really good run and then in a dreadful run. But credit to Steve Cottrell, to be fair, because he's got a tough job on his hands and he has more than steadied the sheep. He has more than steadied the ship in recent weeks.
I know we're very animal-centric on this channel.
Oh, we really are.
We'll leave the sheep out of it.
Animals on the brain.
So in Colin Calderwood's press conference, he said that we had everyone fit pretty much. But on tonight's football phone-in on WM, they said that there was a possible hint that Scott Hogan might be out with injury. How do you think that affects our game plan going into this game, if that is the case? We've
got a few things affecting us at the moment, to be fair. Obviously the manager hasn't been there all week because of family bereavement, and obviously his mum's very ill. His dad's passed away. We wish Steve Bruce and his family all the best again and send our condolences. Yeah. So it's probably not been the ideal week at Villa Park, although we've got enough coaches that you'd think the same preparation will have gone in and would have gone in anyway had Bruce been there. If Hogan's out, it will affect us because he's 5 for 5 and he's on the best form he's been in a Villa shirt since he arrived. Everything he touches seems to go in the back of the net at the moment, so he'll be a big miss. I'd imagine it'll be Keenan Davies starts. If Hogan's out, I don't think Graben would get chucked in straight away, and I don't think Gabby's ready for 90 minutes, so I'd imagine Keenan Davies will play, and it will affect us because as good as Davies is and as good as his hold-up plays, and maybe in a battle that would help, he's shown with only 2 goals that he isn't exactly prolific in front of goal, so it will affect us because it's our main goal scorer at the moment. But we've got other players who are capable of chipping in. We've shared the goals round more this season than we did last season. Obviously Adoma's got back on the score sheet in the last game, so that's good. Hopefully he'll go on another run again. I believe that Grealish will go on a run now. Snodgrass always looks dangerous. Hourahan can pop up. So there's a chance for other people to make themselves the hero, but I'd much rather we had Hogan in.
Yeah, I was going to ask you who you think our key man will be for this game, but as you were talking through the players then, Grealish could go on a run, Adoma, Snodgrass, all these players, you think that sort of front, 5 or 6 or whatever it is, that midfield and forward players, they all look so good at the moment, and it's the chemistry between them that seems to be paying off at the moment for them, that they work together well. So yeah. Is there a key man, or is it a team effort for a game like this?
And it's a team effort. Obviously Terry and Chester will have to be on their game. Everyone will have to be on their game, but I think Grealish is the key man at the moment. He's the one that stands out for me, and he's the one that will understand more than most what this game's about. I mean, there was a tweet back in I think it was 2011 saying that his dream will always be to score against Blues in front of the whole end, and we're all just willing him on to make that dream come true. It'd be a great story, and he is one of the form players undoubtedly in the league at this current time. So if he's on his game, they'll struggle to put the shackles on him, to be honest. I don't think central midfield is his preferred role. He'd rather play as a absolute number 10, but he's playing through the middle, which gives him a bit more freedom. He's got players playing with confidence around him, which when we had Tim Sherwood, that's what we had, and that's why he did so well, because he had good players around him. He's got good players around him again for only the second time in his Villa career, and he's thriving. He's too good for the Championship when he's on song. I mean, people have to stop him. They have to foul him, and that's a problem in itself, because we've got someone like Snodgrass who can whip in real dangerous free kicks and set pieces. So it's a real good thing for us that he draws so many fouls because of that. But he also, when he goes past people, he's causing trouble. I try not to keep up too much with what Blues are doing, so we've managed to draft in a friend of the channel, although he's a Blue Nose, Gabriel Sutton, to talk about his beloved Birmingham City. He's a very knowledgeable chap, helped us out last season. I think he knows everything that's going on in the Football League, so let's hear what he's got to say about Birmingham City.
I know you're offering good form at the moment, but I have to say I'm not quite as nervous about Sunday's game as I maybe would have been about a month or two ago. I mean, things were looking really bleak for us sort of around Christmas time. Since then we've picked up quite a bit, and there's maybe a number of reasons for that. First of all, you've got to look at Sam Gallagher. Now, not only is he in great goal scoring form, and you can see that by the stats, but also I think his pressing of centre backs really sort of forces them into sort of clearances that helps get us further up the pitch, and I think he's a really selfless runner, and he's starting to sort of endear himself to Blues fans at the moment. The other thing is sort of quite a subtle change to the midfield. I think earlier on in Cottrell's reign we had, I believe, David Davis and Michael Kieftenbeld as the double pivot, and Cheek and Doy as the sort of the number 10, if you like. And I mean, I use the term loosely because he's not a number 10 at all. If you look at him, he's a massive bloke, and you don't want a big sort of physical player in the number 10 position. That's the last sort of area you'd want him in, and I think Cottrell sort of recognised that. He sort of moved Ndoye into a deeper role, and I was there on the other night against Sunderland, and what we saw actually was that gave the freedom for Kieftenbeld to sort of press further up the pitch, and he was closing down like mad. He never stopped. And then we had David Davis making those sort of runs, overloading the right channel, and those two players are a lot more mobile than Ndoye. They've got the freedom to sort of push further up the pitch, and Ndoye sort of using his presence sort of deeper. It doesn't have as much ground to cover then. One concern for me is the left back position. Unfortunately, Grindsey picked up a long-term injury. I really rate Grindsey. I think he's a good sort of solid defender. Whether Cohen Bramall will be as solid, I think will remain to be seen. I think if you look at your right side, Elm Howdy and Snodgrass, they've sort of combined quite nicely in recent weeks, I think. So that's probably something that we've got to be wary about. But I also feel like we've shown enough promise in recent weeks to cause problems of our own. So this is going to be a real test for us to show how far we've come.
So if it is the case that Hogan's ruled out on Sunday, there's a space in the team and then on the bench for somebody. Is Gabby likely to feature in this game, do you think?
I mean, I think regardless of Hogan's injury, I think he will have been in the 18. He always seems to be magically fit when the Birmingham City game at Villa Park rolls up. I mean, he's barely played over the last few months. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter saying he's past it, there's no need to involve him, we shouldn't need to. But the fact is, when he comes up against Birmingham City, he's a different player, and he's someone that really unsettles them. So if I was the manager, he'd be in the 18 100%. I think he probably would have come in for Whelan on the bench, but the fact that if Hogan is out, we don't know, it's not been confirmed yet, then obviously probably Davies or Graben's going to lead the line, and that space opens up on the bench anyway. You'd have him there, and you wouldn't bet against him coming on and scoring. There's just something about this fixture that he comes alive, and if it is to be his last season at Villa, which I think it will be a great story and a great swan song, because let's face it, after this game he'll probably be injured again for months and we'll never see him again. It is just this game. He's always there for it, he's always up for it, and the game last year was dreadful. It was a dreadful game. It was horrible stuff to watch, but he came on and he ignited us, to be fair, and he turned that game in our favour. I remember the first half, Birmingham were actually the better side, and we were lucky to go in 0-0, but Gabby tipped the balance. And if the game's not going well, there's no one better to bring on with 20 minutes to go or however long left to try and tip the game in our favour. I mean, we all hope it's comfortable and we don't even need to turn to him, although I'd imagine at some point he'd get on the pitch even if it was comfortable. But the people saying that they wouldn't involve him, I know there's a lot of people that don't like him, but I don't understand that, because he's proved time and time again in this fixture that this is his realm, this is what he does.
Well, I can understand why people don't like him.
Yeah.
But there's a few things when you're talking there, I was having a little smirk to myself for the things you were saying.
Because I used the word realm.
No, just the thoughts of him popping up and scoring in the derby, like surely it can't happen again. I can understand the argument, because I've seen it on Twitter as well, people saying if we were relying on Gabby to come on in the second half and deal us out of a hole to win it, we should be better than that at this stage. But in a derby game, you take whatever, if he has to come on and score and that's the way it goes and that's the way the game's gone, it doesn't really matter how it happened as long as you get the result that you want. But on the other hand, the scenario you said there, that if he comes in, scores the winner and then is gone at the end of the season, I think will appeal to a few Villa fans, and you take that, wouldn't you? If this is his last season and he comes in and scores, wins us the derby at home, then happy days.
I mean, to be fair, for all the people that don't like him, there's a lot of people that still love him fondly and support him a lot as well. A lot of people have got a lot of time for him still, and he has put in good service, whatever way you look at it. He's been at the club a long time and he has scored important goals. He's let himself down on occasion and some will never forgive him for that, but that whole season was just an absolute write-off anyway, if I'm being honest. But I know we shouldn't need him, but in a derby game he's must win, and to be honest, obviously we're challenging for second. If we want to get second, we need to be beating teams that are down the bottom at home anyway. Obviously the fact they've picked up form as it makes it a different element to it, but you just need to win any which way you can, and if that way is dragging Gabby off the bench, then you do it. And if he's on the bench, 90% he'll come on. I
think the thing for me with if I was the manager and having him on the bench, I think it's I don't know whether it comes into it for footballers and stuff, but it's the psychological effect, isn't it? That the Birmingham players and the fans will know that Gabby could be the one to do it, and just having him there with the option that he might come on, and if he does come on, people will get the jitters a little bit and think, what if it happens again? And our fans get up for it and he gets the whole place rocking. If it comes to that, then the psychological impact is probably massive for something like that. But on the other hand, the argument that if we're struggling in the game and you turn to Gabby, like, is he good enough to change the game? Then that's a different matter. He's
good enough against Birmingham City, and he has been time and time again. I mean, I've got to be honest, when he came on last year, I was laughing a little bit to myself, because I just thought, absolutely no chance. It's not going to happen again, but it did, and he played well when he came on. I mean, you could say he came on and he did the basics of what you should be doing in a derby game. He ran round and he put himself about. But what you say is so true. It is psychological, and it does unsettle them. As soon as they see him, the Blues players see him on a pitch, they think, oh God, not him again. The fans definitely think that. As much as they hate him, they can't argue with his record against them. They'd love to have someone from their team that they could bring on and unsettle us. I mean, to be fair, they used to have it with Robbie Savage. Even when Robbie Savage played for Leicester, we always used to lose to Leicester, and when he was playing for Birmingham, exactly the same thing happened to us. He probably gave us the jitters in some respect, because he got the better of us, and Gabby's got the better of Blues nearly every time we've played against them. We're on a great run against them, but you still need every single advantage you can have in football, and I think having him in that 18, that gives us an advantage.
We talked a little bit about the form of both sides earlier. Birmingham will be up for it anyway, will be up for it. It's a derby game, all those elements come into it. It's, however Birmingham are doing, they come to Villa Park and they're going to give it a good go. Do you see it that it's two informed sides are going to have a go at each other and we're going to have an entertaining game, or is it going to be a scrappy derby where it's a 0-0 and someone nicks it near the end again?
I mean, if they'd asked me a few weeks ago, before they picked up form, I'd have fancied us for not a thrashing, but I'd have fancied us for a comfortable
5-1
victory. But I now don't see it being particularly comfortable. If I could see it being more like last season, if I'm being honest. But then saying that, we are a better side than last season. We play better football. We have better players, and we've got better players than them. But at the game at St Andrews, we had better players than them, although we weren't in such a rich vein of form. But they still gave us a tough time. I mean, they missed a couple of sitters. We missed. 0-0 was a fair result in that game. I think I'd have liked us to have gone there and won, but 0-0 was a fair result. You've just got to hope that we have got too much for them. We've played sides in recent weeks that are around their position and won relatively comfortably. The Barnsley game springs to mind, but they're in a relegation battle, so they need points, but then they'll be up for it anyway because it's Villa, and Villa should be up for it because it's Birmingham. But I don't see it being a high scoring game now.
So I'll move on to predicted lineup then. As always, we go through what we think the manager will do. For me, I think if Hogan is fit, I think it's the same team. You keep playing the way you are. if Hogan is out, I don't know. I suppose you chuck in Davis if it's too early for Grabban and Gabby's not quite match fit. Then you've got no choice but Davis. How would you set up if you were the manager?
There's obviously a couple of positions up in the air because Al Mohammadi had an absolute stinker.
Yeah, that's true.
Last week, so there's a chance Twanzebe could come in a more physical player, a better defender. Al Mohammadi's very good going forward, but there's no doubt that Twanzebe will be the better defender, and Birmingham have got a bit of pace and trickery down that side, and we saw with Lloyd Dye that Al Mohammadi did not enjoy coming up against a tricky winger, so I imagine he'll be tempted to play Twanzebe, but I'd imagine he'll stick with Elmo. The other one is a derby game like this, a fierce game where it could very well be a battle. There's a massive argument to put Jedinak in. It's very, very harsh on Bjarnason, who I think would probably be the fall guy. But I think Bruce would be tempted to put Jedinak in for this one, and I think I would be as well. I mean, Ian Taylor always says you need different players for different games, and next game, yeah, put Bjarnason back in if you do put Jedinak in. But I think for this game, it requires that leadership and that know-how. And I'd play Jedinak, and I think Bruce probably will as well. But as I say, it's incredibly harsh on Bjarnason.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the only thing for me is that it's disrupting that front six or so, and the side as a whole to make a change for almost the sake of changing it for the way you want to play and things like that. And Jedinak's barely featured, has he? He's been injured more times than not.
Oh, he's had a right off season.
And the only other thing as well for me is with Elmo, the worry with that is that you drop him, and if that affects Snodgrass's game.
Yeah. Because
he links up so well with Al Mohammadi, and to play with a new player that's only been training with us for 2 weeks or whatever it is, whether that affects the attacking play and things like that for Snodgrass and the way he plays if the defender behind him isn't the one that he's used to. So for me, I wouldn't want to make too many changes for this game because I'd want to keep with what's been working for us.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying, but I'd argue that anchorman position, the designated anchorman, is the least disruptive position to change. Yeah. Because you're kind of playing on your own. You're in front of that back four. You've got the midfield four in front of you. There's no partnership there with anyone. Where if you change a centre back, you change a winger. You've got the winger and the full back partnership. The two central midfielders, Grealish and Horahan, are more of a partnership. So the striker and the anchorman are probably the two that you change because they're the lone positions, if that makes sense. I know what I'm trying to say. I'm not convinced it 100% makes sense, but having Jedinak bit behind Grealish and Horahan, it just offers them that bit more protection and bit more licence to go forward in this kind of game than it does with Bjarnason there, in my opinion. And Jedinak was one of our better players in that game last year when it did turn into a battle. We relied on his know-how. He put himself in the right place. I just think he came on last week and had a little cameo. I've just got a feeling that he'll play. Yeah,
I think the only thing with that is Jedinak the same player that he was last year? I think he's probably the same mentally in the way he reads the game and things like that, but is the body willing this year with the injuries he's had to keep up with the pace of a derby game? Because Bjarnason's obviously the more mobile of the two.
I mean, I'd argue that I'm probably quicker than Jedinak at this current time, and I'm probably not particularly fast. So I don't think he's ever had pace. We always talk about Gareth Barry and wax lyrical about him and say, oh, his game's never changed because he's never had pace. I think Jedinak played against Bristol City, the game we won 5-0, and he looked back to his best at that point, and that wasn't that long ago. I just have a feeling he's going to play. So last week after the Burton win, we did fan cams as we always do for the home games, and fans were obviously looking forward to this game and spent quite a lot of time talking about the Blues game. So let's cut to hearing what the fans had to say about the Blues game straight after Burton last week.
We can do them at this place with our fans behind us. We got the better fans, we're the better club, the better players, we've got better everything. Let's do them down the road tomorrow, yeah?
I hate derbies. I actually worry about them, but once we get it over and done with, we move on. But we done it last season, we won it, and then we stopped. I don't want that. I want to win, move on, carry on, get 7 in a row, and then keep on going. Because we've got to get out of this league because it's absolutely shocking.
It's a derby, anything can happen. 6 wins on the bounce, you would hope that we go into it with confidence, but anything can happen. I just worry, do you keep the same team that keeps winning, or are the legs starting to show and change it up? And do you change it for a derby?
Who knows what's going to happen, but because when we played them at their place, you know, for 90 minutes they ran into the ground, and if they turn up with half of that, it's going to be a battle. I'm 1-0. I'd take 1-0
again.
Day. Now it can be the crap. Well, it was crap last year, wasn't it? Poor game. Yeah. It can be like that. Just, God, 3 points next week. 3 points.
I know if this backfires, I'm going to get clipped and put all over Twitter here. So, I think with the Blues, their fans want it more than their players on the pitch. I think their fans are proper into it, and it seems like their players take it for granted because they know whatever happens at that final whistle, they're going to have the support of their players, where the Villa players know the pressure is on them. We don't hype it up as much as the Blues do, but the players know how much it means to the fans in the stand, and I think that's the difference between the teams, which will swing it either way, because the Blues are blood and thunder, and the Villa are really just... I can't say it, but the shit is like, if we're going to win, and I know you're going to black that out, if we're going to win, we're going to win. We're going to for 1-0. And like last year, or if not, it's going to be a draw. That's my prediction. I think we'll draw it. I think we'll draw a score draw. I'll put it this way, if we turn it on, it's going to be on our own hands. We play like we did for about 60 minutes from the half an hour where we played well, we'll be in trouble next week, because you saw today against a decent team in Sheffield Wednesday, they'll come over, and now they're unpredictable. If we played them a month and a half, 2 months ago, I would have said we could probably comfortably win this. They're unpredictable now, and that's the worst thing for Villa. We can't predict how they're going to play.
So then, time for prediction. I personally don't really want to do one, but I'm going to ask you.
You've got to.
I'm going to do one, but I don't want to. First of all, scoreline and goal score as usual, but just how are you feeling about this game as well, if you had to pick a word?
Weird, because I usually really wind myself up about the derby, and for some reason I've just not done that this time, and I have no idea why, because it means exactly the same to me as it has done all the other times. But I think because we're doing well, I think that's probably what the reason is. I just think we're doing well at the moment, so there's less to worry about. But if we lose, obviously I'll go into hiding. I actually hate this game. I would quite happily see Blues get relegated or Blues stay in the Championship forever and us be in the Premier League, and it never happened usually. But as I say, I've had weird feelings this week. I'm just not really worried about it.
Complacent?
No, it's not complacent. I think it's confidence in what Villa are doing at the moment more than anything. But they're doing well. They're doing well as well. Maybe I'm still in the back of my mind thinking, oh, they're in the relegation zone. They're rubbish. But they have picked up. And as I say, credit to Cottrell, because he deserves a lot of credit for turning that around, because they were sinking. I think I'm going to go 2-1 to Villa, and I do think Grealish will score, but I'm not going to go with him for the first goal. He'll bag the winner. Hopefully, I'm going to go with Adoma just because he scored last week, and if we do get a penalty or anything like that, he is the designated penalty taker, and I don't feel comfortable picking a striker because we're not sure who's going to play, so I'll go Adoma to be doing a nice little dance and get the first goal.
I'm going to go for... I was going to go 2-1, but I'm going to change it and go 1-0, same as last year. Another late goal, sometime in the second half. I'm going to go for Teru, and just runs off in front of the away end, giving it large. I might have a cheeky little bet on Gabby to score the last goal. That comes on, scores the winner. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. I'm not going to predict it in the prediction show, but I might put a sneaky little bet on it. So that's it for today's match preview show. Thanks very much to Gabriel for sending us in a clip on the Dirty Blue Noses. We do appreciate it, and obviously he's a very knowledgeable chap. Fan cams will be after the game in the usual spot, so do come and see us. If you missed the podcast that was released on Wednesday, Tom, Julian and I were in the normal booth talking all things Aston Villa, so go back and check that out. Give the video a like if you have enjoyed this video and you think Villa are going to come up trumps against Birmingham on Sunday. Comment below with your predictions and thoughts ahead of the game as well. If you're not already a subscriber to the Villa View with your post notifications on, and if you could do that, that really helps the channel grow. We're slowly limping towards 10k now, so that'd be really great to hit that milestone as soon as possible. Again, thank you very much for all your support. Stick with the channel, stick with the Villa of the Villa. If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. Be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking our logo there on the left. Easy peasy.